Good to be catching up with the now Senator, formerly Senator-elect, but as of Tuesday sworn in the Senate. How are you, Kerrynne Liddle?
Hello, and hello to your listeners. It's fantastic to finally be in the Senate and to have been sworn in so that I can finally get to work to represent South Australians in the Senate.
Now, just give us a bit of an insight into this thing they call Senate School. They give you a bit of a run around of how it all is meant to work?
Yeah, look, they bring us in for a couple of days. We get schooled on the process of the Senate, how it actually all works, apparently, and get to know a little bit about some of the new senators that are also coming in, and just finding your way around Parliament House, because for those that have been here, it is an extraordinary building. It's extraordinary in its size, but also in its makeup. So it's terrific to be able to spend a couple of days looking at it from a senator perspective, as opposed to, say, a visitor's perspective or a staffer's perspective.
Yep, and then you've got, of course, an agenda with a new government coming in of what it wants to present to the Senate, and of course get through the Parliament. What's the overarching sentiment there as we get into a new parliamentary season?
Oh, look, obviously, I just want to say that, I joined Parliament with Senators Birmingham, Senator Andrew McLaughlin, and he was actually elected as the Senate Vice President. So we're very, very pleased with our outcome, and of course joins the other senators from South Australia in the Senate. So we've got a lot of issues that we will be focusing on that are specific to South Australia, and also the national issues that have implications for South Australia. But, we're obviously all waiting for the new information about the rates, what that means for the cost of living. Labor have made a lot of promises at the last election about how, lower power bills, higher real wages, cost of living relief. And we'll certainly be doing our work to hold them to account about what does that mean for the ordinary person on the street. How will it affect particularly people in regional areas, because that's something I'm really interested in. We often talk about the cost of living for Australians, but it affects people differently depending not just geographically where they live, but also on their circumstances, and I'll be interested in participating on the discussion around some of those issues.
Yeah, look, it's one of those things, the federal budget that was last handed down by the Morrison government had relied on an inflation dip figure that looks like it's going to be lower than what's actually coming out today. That's going to have an effect in terms of the budget bottom line, interest paid on debt, etc. But like you say, it's more those bread and butter issues like, say, fuel and fuel excise and the cost of living in regional areas where we have the tyranny of distance that's really going to affect people firsthand.
And I think that's while we're focused on the actual figure itself and talk more broadly about the implications of those on Australians, I think it's really important to talk also about people who find themselves in a situation where they think they are going to struggle to manage their budgets. Need to be conscious of getting in early and asking for assistance about how they might do that, and also being really aware of the impact on not just themselves but their families in terms of mental health. So the figures are important, but so there's people sit behind those figures, and they're also just as important.
Now, you mentioned some initiatives you'd like to take up for South Australia. Is there any you can mention to us today about things you particularly want to raise for the benefit of all South Australians?
Well, I know that, in terms of the impact of cost of living is going to be obviously crucial. Tourism is really important for South Australia, and I've got a history in the tourism industry in a leadership role. I'm also very interested in, we've got a significant mining sector in South Australia. What does that actually mean in terms of some of the debate that will be going on in the next year or so? What does that actually mean for people living in South Australia, not just the people working in those industries, not just for the people that benefit from those industries from either royalties or from returns, but also for the industries and the businesses that are connected to those things. In the speech yesterday given by the Governor-General, he was outlining some of the government priorities for this year and their term of government, and they talked about they will deliver on water commitments under the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, and they're talking about 450 gigalitres for South Australia. So we will certainly be looking to hold them to account to those promises.
Yeah, that 450 gigalitres is something that it does appear there's bipartisanship within South Australia, at least, that needs to come over the border. But getting all the states on board, particularly New South Wales and I think even Victoria, is going to be a little bit challenging.
Yeah, that's an important point. I mean, the commitment and delivering on the Murray-Darling Basin Plan has always been bipartisan, but it's the amount of work that goes into actually making sure that that transitions into actual outcomes as we intended. So we look forward to seeing the mechanisms and the work that's being done to actually get that outcome.
All right, well, Senator Kerrynne Liddle, good to be talking to you in Canberra representing South Australia. Thanks for joining us today on Flow.
Thank you very much.
And just a postscript to that interview, the conversation about looking after your mental health. Some resources are available at beyondblue.org.au on the telephone 1300 22 46 36, or if you're in crisis, call Lifeline on 13 11 14.